Hi again then guys, and welcome to yet another speed tune for Forza Horizon 3, this time for one of the classic muscle cars on the game, the Pontiac Trans Am SD455 in particular. This is one of the stronger Firebird Trans Ams to begin with. Obviously once you tune them and give them stuff like 1500 horsepower engines, there tends to be a fair amount of a levelling factor, which happens to a lot of them. Of course, some cars are still better than others, but when they're all running basically the same kind of numbers for power, torque, engine size, they do start to not blend together, but definitely get much closer in their identity. Now, as far as conversions on this car, of course I would recommend having that 1500 horsepower engine. It's not the most original concept, but it simply gives you the best numbers to work with. It's as simple as that. As far as the drivetrain, again, I would recommend all-wheel drive. It just helps immeasurably getting all of that power down to the road, and of course it helps out a lot off-road also. As far as the Aspiration, obviously you want that twin turbo. For stuff like the visuals with wings, body kits, the shaker, that's down to you, of course. For the rest though, you want to increase the power as high as you can, lower the weight as much as you can, and fit everything to the car with race in the title. So tyres, suspension, brakes, diff, gearbox, all of that good stuff. As you can see, I have fitted this car with a roll cage, and as I've said a number of times, muscle cars and classics, but definitely muscle cars in particular, really do, 9 times out of 10 at least, benefit greatly from having a roll cage. Now, as you can see from the benchmark, it's got pretty amazing acceleration. In fact, it can outdo a lot of full-on supercars. 1.8 to 60 is very impressive. 3.7 to 100 is kind of even more impressive, actually, and the top end speed is, funnily enough, not quite as quick as you might expect, just under 260, but with that kind of acceleration, it's definitely not a disappointing car at all. Now, for the gearbox, I would recommend a 3.3 final drive, then individual gears, which will be pretty familiar to people who have used my tunes before: 2.9, 2, 1.5, 1.17, 0.94 and 0.77. As far as alignment, no surprises there. I've used neutral camber, neutral toe, and 4 degrees of caster for this one. Anti-roll I've got on 35 and 20, springs on 240, 140, and as I've said before, I do like the majority of my muscle cars to be quite high off the ground. I like the way that looks. I know a lot of people don't though, so if you want to slam it, there's no problem with that whatsoever. As far as dampers, we've got those on 17, 11, 8 and 5. Aero doesn't apply on this one. And for the diff, you probably guessed it, 100% on acceleration, 0 for decel, and for this particular car, a little bit more inclined to the rear than you might expect, 75%. If you find that though to be a little bit too tail happy, you could by all means take it down to a 70. Anywhere in that kind of region, and you're going to do pretty well. Now, this is on my storefront, this tune, so you can use the keywords in the video description down below to find it, but this is one of those tunes that I can't guarantee how long it's going to be on the storefront for, because certain tunes, if they don't necessarily get as many downloads, I will remove them and make space for better ones, faster ones, more popular ones. So if you want it, get it quick, because as I said, I can't guarantee that it will still be there. It's as simple as that. But that's it for the tune, so now let's actually take it out on the road to see what it can do. Now, I must admit, I'm not a huge fan of any of the Trans Ams or the Firebirds, to be honest. I do love Pontiacs, especially the GTOs, and also the Tempest, which of course is not featured, unfortunately, on the game. The Trans Ams just never really did it for me. They look a little bit too glitzy compared to some other more traditional muscle car shapes, but I can understand why people would like them. Overall, the top speed on this one in particular isn't quite as high as you'd probably expect, something like a CUDA perhaps, or a Charger, but it definitely isn't slow. So if you need more low and mid-range acceleration from your muscle car with a decent amount of top-end speed as well, because this one can hit 260 as you can see here, then it's a decent one to go for, by all means. So if you enjoyed using this tune, of course you can check out hundreds more on the channel, and for now, as always, thanks for watching.